My manager mocked my disability, so HR made him regret every word. I have a mild speech impediment, nothing dramatic, but noticeable enough that sometimes I pause or repeat a sound. And while most people let me speak at my pace and treat me with respect, my manager chose to make it his personal joke, mocking the way I spoke in front of coworkers, exaggerating my pauses, dragging out my words, even tilting his head like he was performing some cheap comedy act. And every time he did it, the room went silent. Not because it was funny, but because it was painfully uncomfortable. Everyone knew it was wrong, but he was the manager, so they kept their heads down. And even though I stayed calm on the outside, inside every imitation chipped away at me. So I started writing everything down, every date, every comment, every moment, because something in me knew I would need it one day. And that day came during a meeting with a major client when I was explaining part of our workflow, and he suddenly cut me off and repeated my words in a slow, exaggerated voice, dragging out every sound like he thought he was hilarious. And the look on the client's face said everything. Disbelief, disappointment, secondhand embarrassment. And something inside me finally clicked. I didn't argue, I didn't react. I simply tapped the record button on my phone that was already on the table, and captured the entire humiliating performance from beginning to end. And when the meeting ended, the client shook my hand with a look that said I didn't deserve any of that. So the next morning, I walked straight into HR without hesitation, handed over my written report with every incident listed, and then played the recording. And halfway through, the HR manager paused it, looked at me, and said this wasn't the first complaint about him, but it was the clearest and most undeniable, and they would take action immediately. And they did. Within a week, he was reassigned, which everyone knew was corporate language for fired, and he cleaned out his desk without looking at anyone. And for the first time in a long time, the office felt calm again. And about a month later, the new manager called me into her office, and I thought something was wrong, but she smiled and said she reviewed my work, heard how I handled myself in that meeting, and believed I deserved to move up. Then she offered me a promotion on the spot, and I walked out feeling lighter than I had in years. Not because he was gone, but because I was finally seen and respected. And in the end, I didn't need to yell or fight publicly. Karma didn't roar. It whispered through a simple recording that ended the career of someone who thought mocking a disability was funny. He lost his job, I gained a promotion, and life moved forward exactly the way it should. Sweet, silent karma.